Hey everyone. Okay, so right from the jump, the episode obviously wastes no time in showing everything going to absolute shit, as following the reunion that last week, Ziggy basically goes full evil mode, declaring his intention to conquer the galaxy for the sake of robot android supremacy, and completely decimating our heroes in the process. Which, right from the outset, I will say, I do like how the anime did slightly more to really show just how much of a threat Ziggy has become to our heroes in this initial confrontation. Like, the manga did this amazingly too, but I think the anime did punch up a scene or two to really emphasize the idea that Ziggy has become a villain we should fear. Someone who, yes, pun intended, has become a real demon, a demon king, and he intends to conquer all humanity, decimate them, and for robot and android kind to be the supreme rulers. And following the beatdown, Ziggy delivers on our heroes. The Eden's One also arrives to help, and we get introduced to four characters: Clown, Wizard, Brigade, and Killer, otherwise known as the Four Dark Stars, who are the Starshine's basically mirror opposites, you could say. And honestly, I have a very mixed opinion on these characters, because while the dynamic they bring to the series as opposition to our heroes is very interesting, I do also have to say that with the revelations that are to come later in the series as to who these four are, season 3 most likely is where it is going to happen. One of the things where I wish we did get one of the things I kind of wish one of the things that is a little bit lacking, and something I wish we did get from the Four Dark Stars, is just to make is more fleshed out dynamics between the Dark Stars and the Starshines, to make the emotional weight of the aforementioned revelations to come feel a little more impactful. But as it is, they're fine. Like, I'm not going to say that there's anything bad about how the Dark Stars are handled in the story from this point onward, but it is one of those things where there does feel like there's a missing piece to kind of, in order to bring out all as many emotions as you could possibly get from this, for basically the reveals that you're going to get from them. But with that said, though, I do want to talk about the moment with Pino, because I think if I remember when reading the manga, I said it was a great moment, but Mashima could have held on the moment of her being controlled for a little while longer. And while I do admit that problem does kind of persist in how it's adapted in the anime, I do also like how the anime leaned much more into making the idea of Pino becoming Ziggy's slave a lot more creepy. Like, and it's not even through anything big they do, but just through little details, like how her voice actor how her seiyuu delivers her lines much more robotically when she's being controlled, to even adding like actual data code lines fly across her eyes when she's supposedly like erasing her memories. Like, little things like that really make the idea of Pino wiping like losing herself and submitting herself to Ziggy all that much more unsettling and terrifying. Like, it's as is, it's still technically fine, but just what the little details they add in the anime, it makes it all the better. Now, aside from that, though, this is kind of what I was talking about last episode. This whole new saga, with what we get in this chapter, like, we're basically entered a new saga now that is really going to be focused on Shiki, and not only the idea of him coming to grips with this new reality, as much as he might not want to accept it, but also just continuously battering and breaking himself down to the point where he will be resolved to face Ziggy eventually. And I know Mashima's reputation still haunts him in the minds of many people, but trust me when I say, where Eden Zero goes with Shiki's character beyond this point, it is honestly kind of incredible. Like Shiki's journey throughout this whole thing is taken very seriously, and Shiki does go through an arc with what happened in this episode. And I know the best way I can describe it is that Mashima literally and figuratively deconstructs Shiki's character. And I know that's kind of an overused method of storytelling, But this is one of those times where it does feel like Mashima is attempting to deconstruct his own use of the friendship trope through Ziggy's turn to evil. Because when you look at what Ziggy's doing in this episode, it's really emotionally challenging. It's really emotionally challenging for Shiki because he doesn't know what he's battling his own emotions about the situation. Everything Ziggy has taught him, everything he believes so fervently, now are being challenged by that same person who taught him those things, and opposing Ziggy right now is opposing everything he believes and causing him to just question everything now. And again, this in itself is just laying the groundwork for the kind of journey Shiki's going to go on, and it is a very rough and tumble journey. Like, if you're expecting everything to be like all again, I think most people can. I think I can say this, but if most people are still expecting a very happy-go-lucky friendship kind of thing, trust me, Shiki's gonna suffer beyond this point. Of course, the end of the episode sees Elsie coming in on the scene to help get the crew out of the tight jam they're in with Ziggy, and interestingly enough, Elsie is kind of the other side of this coin when it comes to this whole saga of taking down Ziggy, because while the main focus is going to be Shiki dealing with him coming to terms with the idea of facing his grandfather, the first person he ever considered to be family, we're also going to be getting a lot in regards to Elsie as well in this new saga, just like pretty much just more of her history, her past, all of it. And in some ways, this is already shown by her just appearing, because the fact that she's here at all is enough to make us say she knows more about what's going on than the crew does, or at the very least a baseline idea. Like, I don't think she would have appeared on Grand Bowl if she didn't know somewhat of what was going on. Now, I guess if I did have one issue with this episode, and it's one I think we might be dealing with for at least a few more episodes, is the pacing. Just the fact that the recap was 3 minutes long, and then combined with the intro to make it around 5 minutes before we get to the actual episode, yeah, you can pretty easily tell what it is they're doing here. Like, this episode pretty much covered the entire last bit of the Eden's 1 arc, or at least covered the entire last bit of chapter 103 of the Eden's 1 arc, which for a reference point is only 5 chapters, but like the Eden's 1 arc is 5 chapters in total, but this episode only covered like the second half of chapter 101 and then halfway through chapter 103. So you can clearly tell they're trying to reach a certain endpoint with this season, even if they have to forcefully slow down the pacing a bit, which does make me think that they are pushing to end this season in Foresta. They just had to sacrifice one of the smaller arcs in this case. At least that's what I'm hoping they're doing, because Eden's to make it, because, and in this case the one they had to sacrifice was Eden's 1, which to make it happen. And to answer the I guess a question, the other question I might get as to where I think the season is going to end. I think they can pull adapting Foresta off as the end point, but because while Foresta is a long arc, there's also a lot happening that makes it move at a relatively fast pace. It's just a matter of how much faster they pace themselves in a Red Cave. Because in an ideal world now, once we get past Eden's 1 arc, it should technically only take 2-3 episodes to adapt Red Cave feasibly. That is all they need if they still plan to adapt Foresta. But if not, because that's the tough thing, because even if they slow down like the Red Cave arc as well, it's still going to leave room. It's still going to leave room in order to adapt a little bit more. So I think at this point they would have to adapt Foresta in order to end this season. At least I think so. But we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And then with season 3, they can just jump straight into the next big arc. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Control. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just have around, guys. Dark Knight of Vanity signing off. Later, everyone.